coast.
Yeah, yeah, that's good. Just keep talking like that. So we're doing the Taiwan part.
Yeah,
The most
yeah,
important part.
duh.
Yeah, whatever.
I'll get this part going. Everything's good at the end of the day for the shop?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, is that what you're supposed to do with men?
Yeah, just breaks open up, hands on like cells, and
Oh.
lets the oils come out. Like their aromatics are much greater.
Pour them the way we like them?
Bro.
You guys all right with that?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
Not soft.
pour it like you don't own it.
Not sticky.
Yeah.
How's this for you guys, rocking and rolling? Oh my god.
What?
Hopefully we get some.
It is crazy. Absolutely nuts.
It's gotta be some people on these guys that are, dark. Almost.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There's gotta be some
it's
people
a-
stuck in traffic on the,
Yeah.
the road out to.
Yeah.
Oh, without a doubt, without a doubt there.
Yeah, that's gotta be torture, just seeing it back up all the way to
Oh God,
the verge, you're like, oh.
Oh, man.
coming,
Oh,
just
it's
coming
nice.
here from Scott Lane. I mean, this is all the way to Cache.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Soaking fully back. I raced in, picked up the kids at the hospital, raced back down to Raptor J, turned around and came right back. And
I was surprised
probably
that
like
you
an hour
texted.
and 20 minutes.
I was surprised that you actually made the lap and.
I did do a pretty good job on the lap.
It was
I-
impressive.
I felt like I maneuvered it the best I could.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Great.
Oh,
Yeah, absolutely.
perfect. Are we flanking you?
Uh,
What does that mean?
Plan? Are we on
On
either
side?
side?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. You're the rower, essentially.
Yeah. Oh, nice. Do I have the front of the boat?
Yeah. You got.
I don't know. I can't tell.
Yeah. First fish you'll have to flip.
Yeah. All right. Okay. We could do that. Yeah.
Baseball.
Uh-huh.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Taiwan on Tuesday. We've got a fun little summer special with Howard and Travis and Chaz here from Jackson Hole Steelworks.
Hi, everybody.
Hello.
So we are excited for the evening. We're going to talk about some, summer flies and fishing conditions, water levels, just all the fun summer stuff happening in Jackson Hole right now. So Howard, I will let you kick it off.
Kick
And
it off.
of course, cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers,
Yeah.
everybody.
Cheers, Howard.
Clink.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes. Cheers, Howard. Clink.
Good to be here. Thanks for having us. Oh, yes.
Clunk. Oh,
Cheers
uh-huh.
to you.
Cheers.
Ooh,
Yeah.
little drop
Well, first off, so you guys are from
Jackson Hole Steelworks.
Steelworks,
Mhm.
okay?
Yep.
And you want to do a little history, a little
Sure.
Yeah.
whatever?
So, yeah, for sure. We'll do a quick little chat.
yeah.
You're way more important than we are. I mean, you
yeah,
just came to bring you drinks.
Yeah.
I mean, really, but, yeah, Chaz and I started Jackson Hole Steelworks, little local distillery here in Jackson Hole, Wyoming, and started up 7 years ago.
God, has it been that long
I
already?
know. I don't know how that happened.
It's so fast.
Yeah.
So fast.
But yeah, we've been good buddies for over 20 years of living out here, and
Yeah, how'd we meet?
oh man, that didn't really have anything to do with a place like this,
Yeah.
except that it was all based around fly fishing and fly tying and such. So this is a great story, guys.
It is.
So I had never met Chaz before, and a good friend of mine was working at a very exclusive club in Teton Village called Sundance Tennis and Swim Club
Very
back
exclusive.
in 2000. Very difficult to get in,
Yes.
or you just go in,
Jump the
when you're done
fence or
skiing or whatever. But my buddy was running the place, and he needed an employee to just kind of be the pool boy, so to be. So
It's very good
Chaz,
with the towels.
this gorgeous man, was a pool boy at the time, and I walked in and I'm like, "Oh, what's up?" And this guy's I've never met before is sitting there when he's supposed to be getting me a towel, and he's sitting there tying crabs for salt water, and I'm like, "What are you tying?" I was a fly fisherman myself and tied a lot of trout flies and stuff, but I'd never really seen saltwater, and so that was that day, and here we are. 20 some odd years later and cranking out booze for a living and fishing when we can, you know?
Yeah. A lot of days on the water racked up and
Yep.
a lot
Nice.
of time in the field. So
So where's your location?
We are about, about like 2.5 miles south of town in Jackson? Yeah,
Sure.
just like if you head south on 191 south and we're on the left on, what is that? Elk Avenue.
Elk Avenue.
Yep. Mhm.
Yep.
Cool little spot. Come get a sloshie.
Easy to find.
Bye, Bob.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah,
There you go.
it's fun and it's
Yeah.
a great spot. We've had a lot of fun building our business and we're still best friends, which is
Yeah.
an
Mhm.
achievement in itself. But
Yep.
we've had a great time and we love people coming in. We always end up talking hunting and fishing at some point.
It took 4 minutes today for us
4
to get
minutes.
on to hunting today. Hunting was the topic
All
today.
right.
Yeah.
Originally, and of course, switched to fishing as well
Yeah,
later
yeah.
on. But you
For
know,
sure.
that was like a record. It's usually the first thing we talk about.
Yeah.
So
And it's fun. We have a
Anything
good
fun and
time.
exciting going on this summer at the distillery?
Um,
Sloshies.
Lots of
always.
sloshies,
Sloshies.
lots of tours. We're part of Harvest Host, which is a membership program for folks with RVs. So they've been popping in. We take 2 people a night or 2 RVs a night, and just
Oh, in the parking lot?
yeah, in the parking lot.
Oh,
Yeah.
cool.
They need a spot, you know, and it's
Yeah.
a really cool way for people to come in and visit. And of course, part of it is that they, come in and make a couple purchases, and,
Sure.
and then we show them around the place. But that's something that we love to do. I mean, it's kind of letting people understand a little bit more of our process, the start and the trials and tribulations of owning our own business, and all those things, and then of course walking around and seeing all the fun, the mills and the mash tuns, and of course the distillation equipment is always very interesting to folks. So yeah, it's kind of a mix of art and science. So there's something that kind of satisfies everybody's interest when they come in to visit us.
So then primarily what are you guys producing?
primarily vodka,
Vodka?
gin, barrel aged gin, and
Uh-huh.
then working on some future spirits to be
Alright.
released later down the line. But
Yeah.
yeah, any
Can you
day.
get hints of what that is?
Well, it's darker than this.
Yes.
But I don't know. We sell vodka and gin, so we'll just leave it at that for right now. But yeah, but we love people coming down. So it's just so super fun to have folks visit and pick up a bottle and try one of our legendary sloshies or maybe
Yeah.
2. But
So that's the question. Now, I've talked to, I travel quite a bit fishing, hunting a little bit, and I've talked several times about sloshies, whatever, and people look at me like I got 2 heads. They go like, I'm going like, you don't know what a sloshie is? And is that kind of just native to here?
it is native
Or-
to here. I mean, I think
It really is.
I'm pretty sure if you were to check the history books, you would see that Nick from Creekside was the
Yeah.
first guy
Yes.
to ever put out a sloshy. And I don't know if he coined the term or if the term was coined, and that had to be like early, like 2005,
Yeah.
maybe
Yeah.
something
Oh, yeah.
like that.
Oh, yeah, no.
And now you can't find. For those of you out there that don't live in Jackson Hole, a sloshy is an adult slushy. So
Yes.
it's a frozen adult beverage, and they're everywhere all over this town. And Creekside was the originators, and
Well, they were right
started
next to
catching on.
DQ, so I think that's...
Yeah, that's probably what it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sloshies
Yeah.
and sloshies, yeah.
But yeah, so for those of you that have been to Louisiana, maybe fishing the bayou down there or something like that, chasing redfish. Chaz used to guide down there. Something similar to maybe the
Daiquiris.
daiquiri stands,
Yeah,
I guess,
for sure.
kind of like that.
Yeah.
Yep.
But
Yeah.
for
And
some
everybody
reason-
has their favorites and favorite flavors, and we've got a bunch. And
no, this place
yeah.
is the best. No, that place is the best.
Or why isn't this one on the menu
Yeah.
today? We get a lot of requests. Yeah,
Yeah.
totally. But it's fun. It is definitely a Jackson thing, though.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to jump into this because I'm known for taking forever.
We're not going to help with that.
Yeah.
And-
Yeah.
Well,
Yep.
Howard,
We have a
before
lot
you-
to drink, so it's
Before you introduce your fly, we have the first question of the night. Oh my God.
Jeez, I did put him on the
I can't turn this off either.
Who is it?
Yep.
There you go.
Yeah.
Let's is Dave Klein. Dave Brown.
First question of the night from a Connor Jordan. She said, Howard, where did you get your glasses? Are they Wendy's?
Everybody thinks I have Wendy's glasses. No, these are mine. I don't know. I got them over at Idiot Flats or something, someplace. You know, I have no idea where I got them. Thanks, so Connor. Whatever. Anyway, Claire wanted me to do big fly. I really don't really tie big flies. I buy them. I tie little stuff. And anyway, this I think goes along with where we're at in the season. Stuff like that, what's coming up. We're going to talk a little bit about water conditions and things like that. But this is going to be a trico, which is relatively a small mayfly. Most of the time somewhere 18, 20, most of the time 20, probably 16s to 22s. We're going to do an 18 here just so we have some visual. Happens a lot in flatter water, calmer water. A lot of our tailwater fisheries this time of year, somewhere from July through September, maybe even into October, up on the dam section here on the Snake River. They'll go into October some. But this is a little bit different version. We're going to start off with a snowshoe hare for a wing, and then we're going to do some microfibbits for a tail, and then we're going to do a little bit something different. We're going to do a quill, a strip quill for a body, and then regular dubbing, and then just some black hackle. But some different moves here. A lot of these will have the abdomen of a cream or white or even a light olive abdomen. So we're going to make the abdomen a little bit. Most of the time, probably when you buy them in the shop, they're probably going to be all black, which is still good. But this is, again, just a little bit different version of my stuff. So as I'm throwing this stuff on, you guys can kind of talk. One thing I'm going to do here right away, I like to have a thread base on my hook shank here. This is just a standard dry fly hook. Happens to be a TMCO barbless 100. But we're going to do a reverse jam knot. Most of the time when we start our thread, we're going to go like this, boom, 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 boom. When I tie period, I always think about thread wraps and how many and whatever. So we're going to eliminate going this way, and then this way. We're going to put on just what we kind of need here. So I'm going to come underneath, go right at the hook point, and we're going to go over 1, 2, 3.
I've tied a lot of flies where I've bundled up a whole lot of thread. On little
man.
ones, it is
Yeah.
It's so challenging.
good to be conservative.
What size thread are you rocking right there?
This is just some old Danville. I mean, there's so much new stuff out there, but this is just Danville 6/0. We're going to switch into a different thread here, though, a little bit later. And parachutes, I have a little bit of an issue with. A lot of times people want them way to the front or whatever. I put mine, if you kind of look, standard dry fly, traditional cast gill, between the point and the eye of the hook, go halfway in between. And by the time that I put that on, I'm going to be just crowded just a little bit forward. Snowshoe rabbit, I am a big fan of. I use it for all kinds of stuff. It is extremely buoyant, but it's kind of funky in the standpoint it has 3 different materials in the foot. This one isn't a real good representation. This one's a little bit better in the standpoint of at the front here, it's pretty coarse and pretty heavy. And then kind of here in the middle, this has been cut out a bunch, is kind of in between. And I probably use this the most. And then when we get down to this end, it's going to be real basically fuzzy, light stuff. So it just depends on my application. Lots of times when I'm kind of replacing calf tail, I'm going to use this coarser portion here. And like I said, for probably most of my flies, I'm going to use here. Tonight, because we're tying pretty small fly, I'm going to use more of this real soft, fuzzy stuff.
Is there any
right here.
sort of a buoyancy difference between the three kind of sets in there?
That's just going to depend on the fly.
Yeah.
The fly, the size of the fly.
Yeah.
You know, how much material you're going to use, what you're going to do with the buoyancy. I mean, it has. I mean, it's kind of like CDC. It has a natural oil. I mean, it floats like a cork.
Cool.
I mean, it's really buoyant stuff. It's extremely durable. You know, I don't have to keep like CDC. I like, but typically a CDC flies, I got to keep messing around with them to keep them up, floating,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
Most of the time, though, you know, where you're using CDC fly, you're probably fishing just the one fish anyway.
Yeah.
So I mean, if you catch that one fish, big deal.
Yeah.
But this
You go
thing,
home.
this thing will really float.
Cool. And that's snowshoe hare, so native to the region.
Yeah, originally.
Did you harvest that one yourself?
Originally, you know, they're saying snowshoe. A lot of this stuff
Yeah.
is jackrabbit,
Right,
whatever.
yeah.
And maybe not quite as buoyant as snowshoe, but still very good. This happens to be snowshoe from Nature Spirit here,
Cool.
whatever. So
Do they have names? Is that
they probably did at one time.
Bunny? Is Bunny's a good name.
Fluffy.
Do you have a name for this particular style or formulation of this fly?
No, it's kind of a combination of a bunch of different people's stuff, whatever. But when I'm dealing with this real soft stuff down here, it's a little bit, if you've messed around with calf tail, you really got to get out the stuff that you're not going to use.
There's like an underhair in there, right?
Well,
Hairs.
I'm only going to use not even this much lengthwise from here to here. So everything behind my thumb and my forefinger right now, I don't need in there. All I am is tying in bulk if I'm doing that. So this is the bad part, is you got to switch hands.
So Travis, Chaz, where have you guys been fishing so far this summer?
Surprisingly, we've actually had a chance to fish this year. We were just talking about, we actually went out yesterday and fished down in the canyon on the Snake. Had a great day, a lot of fun. It's just for us, it's nice to get on the water and go back to the old things. I mean, when you start up a business, it's consumes your life a little bit. And this year has been our banner year of fishing. We fished the South Fork a couple days this year. We've fished a few other rivers, and it's just been nice to get out.
Have you fished the South Fork lately?
Fished it a week ago.
Yeah, last weekend,
Mhm.
right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This very last weekend?
Yeah, we're down in the
Okay.
canyon, and
All right.
Days-
big
no,
bugs
not-
were in.
What
and-
day is today? No, not just this, not like yesterday or the
Yeah.
day before, but the previous weekend.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, big bugs were still rocking in
Yeah.
there.
Yes.
And God, it was
So
fun.
what are big bugs?
What was that?
Salmon flies
Right,
and the
uh-huh.
golden
Hey,
stones.
uh-huh. Yeah.
Didn't see any mutants, but we had a lot of just at night. I mean, when they're coming off the trees and off the bushes, and they were just thick. It was really nice.
We were lucky enough to be able to do the overnight down there and
Yeah.
camp with a bunch of buddies, so we could fish late into camp into the
Yeah.
middle of the canyon. And that, as most of you know, it's like, well, that heat of the day is not always the best time to fish. The morning and evening often are, but I mean, sometimes it's all day. But to be able to know that you're just in the middle of the canyon, guide boats have passed on, and you're kind of by yourself in a place that's, pretty busy, because
Yeah.
all good water is busy these days,
Yes,
unfortunately. And
for sure.
but we were blessed with that and got to fish, late evening and early morning.
What's amazing is how late we're fishing them.
Yeah.
I mean,
Fishing the big
typically
bugs,
is like
I mean, yeah. uh-huh.
around the 4th of July, and that time.
Oh
period,
yeah, late
here
in
we
the
are,
season.
super late in the season, and still having great success on the big bugs and big foams, and it's just always fun. I mean, it was, I think, worked pretty hard. So we were working these flies deep like seeing if we could get them hung up in the bushes and
Well, I
the
lost
underbrush.
a lot of flies because
Lost
that's
a lot
where
of
it needed
flies.
to be. It needed to be,
Yeah.
you know, this close to the bank,
Yeah.
and there's so much water flowing in that river right now. It's at, you know, it was a little
Yeah.
over 16,000 CFS when we were there.
Yeah.
That's which is atypical for this time of year.
Yep.
But you know, a lot of demand from ag downstream. So that you're trucking by those banks at 100 miles an hour
Oh, man.
and throwing that thing and be like, I got
Yeah.
one try, and it. If it's in the tree, it's gone.
Yeah.
It's gone.
The good
But,
news
yeah.
is if they eat
If
it,
they
you
eat
usually
it,
get it
so
out,
it's you know that's
Yeah,
that.
you're
it's
not, you're not retrieving it.
no way. It's the risk versus reward, right?
Yes.
That's 100% what it is, and it's if you can put it in the right spot, and that 23-inch brown gobbles
Yeah.
it, and you catch one of the greatest fish of your life on a big, huge foam dry.
Oh,
On
yeah.
the South Fork of the Snake River, and you are a happy camper.
I know our
And if
crew-
you hang up your bug and lose it, you put another one on, and you just
Yeah,
keep
just
doing
keep
it the
going.
same way.
Yeah, our crew left a few $100s worth of flies on the trees. On the
Business
bushes.
opportunity for anyone out
Yes.
there. As soon as that water level
Yeah.
drops,
It's like snorkeling for golf balls.
Yeah.
And having a little recycling.
So you mentioned the South Fork is flowing really high. Do you want to touch a little bit about like what's going on there with
Oh,
the
yeah.
dams and stuff?
Yeah, there's a like Travis was saying, there's a large demand downstream, and you know what we have, we usually give over to ag, and that's kind of controlled a lot with the Idaho state side in terms of what flows through the Snake into Palisades, and then Palisades and beyond. And so there's obviously a lot of water moving out because we've been extremely dry this year, and so I think that there's a call for it. And yeah, I think we're going to get into a little bit more, and maybe we just start into how that's going to affect sort of our late season waters and what we're looking at from the standpoint of reservoir, you know, the percentage of water in the reservoirs, the flows coming in September. You probably know a lot more about this, Howard, but we're hearing rumors of some saying flows as low as like 300 or 400 CFS on the Snake. We're going to see stuff we've never seen.
5 to 10% of capacity.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so first of all, you guys stated like, you know, this is unusual for this time of year. This is not unusual for this time of year. Back in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, you know, this is the way it was.
okay.
We own 28,000 acre feet in Jackson Lake. Wyoming does. So all this water goes over to Idaho. There's 3 water districts over there that own all this. And when, just like you said, it's hot, it's warm, they need water. They get it. Palisades Reservoir is the last reservoir on the system, so those are the youngest water rights on the system, which is very complex. But again, so that water moves a lot. So this year has gone back to like it was in the, you know, what's happened in the last 10, 12 years, we've had enough water in the wintertime. We've had enough, shouldn't say water, we had enough snowpack that kept our reservoirs at good levels. And so we could maintain good flows. A bunch of years ago, you know, Bureau Rec really started listening to not only us fishermen, but what's good for the river system is they tried to emulate natural historical water flows, which would be high flows in the spring, lower flows as the season wore on. Back in the day, you know, they cut everything down, kept it low, and then come this time of year, boom, it jacked up. And that's just the way we had to deal with it. But luckily, these last bunch of years, you know, we've had good water, and so they could maintain it. This year, we do not yet. So right now, yeah, I think what the Snake is 5160 or something like that coming out of Jackson Lake. The coming out of Palisades is 16,130 or something like that, which in some ways, I mean, you got to know what you're doing rowing.
Oh, yeah.
You do not
That'll
want
keep
to
you
That
be,
is heavy water
you
down
do
there in
not
South
want to
Fork.
be on that river. You know,
And heavy water for now in our neck of the woods, right in the backyard on the Snake too.
oh yeah, very much so. I mean, most years, you know, right now it'd be 2,500.
Yeah.
So we're double.
Yeah.
I mean,
At least.
I should say in the last 10, 12 years,
Right.
2,500.
Yeah.
So, you know, makes it kind of tough. So this is a little move. I just put tails in here, whatever. A little move we're going to I'm going to stop short of my tail set position, and I'm going to make a wrap underneath. I think underneath. Where am I at? Maybe I already did it. Oh, I did. I made a wrap underneath. So now I'm going to make a soft wrap back over the top of that, and that's going to collect all those tails. So instead of being fanned out, whatever, they'll collect all together right there. So sometimes, I mean, if you want the fanned out, then just jam it, bang it down, and it's going to have a nice splay.
Yeah.
You know, this one, I kind of want them all together, like right there. So I'm right at my tail set position, right above the barb of the hook. It's this.
How long is, in terms of the shank, and this is probably good for folks tying, how long is the tail as compared to the shank of the fly on this particular one?
I tend to put longer tails on mine.
Okay.
You know, traditionally they were, you know, depending on the fly, anywhere from 1.5 the shank length to 1 shank length, depending on if you're doing traditional style of tying, you know, with our hackle going around this way on the hook. Parachute, we could start making them shorter. Lots of times, you know, definitely splay them out into a V. But, you know, that's why we tie.
Yeah.
So you can do it the way
Play around with it.
the way you like it.
Yeah.
Whatever.
And kind of going back to what you were saying earlier, is variation on a traditionally dark fly, and everybody, and I'm sure everyone watching who's a tyer, it's great to have a lot of different light variation colors, or even substantial variations on a typical bug, and having that option. If the fish are refusing one type of color, then you can just pull it in, switch it up, and go for a different.
What I've
style.
found with the Tricos is, I mean, if anybody's been in a Trico hatch, it's pretty amazing because there's literally millions and millions. There's clouds of them. They start out relatively, you know, somewhere probably at, you know, right after daybreak to 9, 10 o'clock, depending on the water, depending on time of year. But there'll be clouds and clouds of them, and so you can then they're going to come back and lay their eggs. So you're going to have an adult, you're going to have a spinner, all there at the same time, and whatever. And one fish might be keyed in on spinners, the other one might be keyed in on adults. What I have found personally for myself is when the adults kind of are on the downside. There's not as many of them, and there's much more tricoine. And I mean, and most of this water is relatively pretty flat, pretty calm, you know, and they'll just be sitting there, boom, 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 and they get into a pattern. They'll go up so far, then they'll come back, and then they'll start, and they can feed coming back. I caught one a couple of weeks ago. It hit the end, come around, and he was feeding coming back.
The downstream take.
Yeah, I got him coming
Great.
downstream.
Wow.
But what I've found is when they really start getting on those Tricos, that's when I like to fish an adult. Because what I find is, you know, you really have to get into the rhythm on that when they're doing the Trico or the spinner form, because they're just sitting there boom, 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 you know. And when I still put on an adult, then it seems like, boom, oh, look at that one, you know, because there's not enough of them that they have to really be picky. But there's something that's a little bit different.
Yep.
So what I've done here is I've taken a saddle hackle and I've stripped all the fibers off of it. So all there is just the stem or the ricus of it. So we're going to come underneath here, lift up, put it onto where I want it.
And all the times that I've tied really small flies, they end up being really big small flies.
little furry meatballs.
Yeah, it's really what they are. They're terrible.
Yep.
You have a lot more room with a big fly to make a whole bunch of mistakes.
And cover them up.
So it's really cool to see Howard tie this little 18 and just, you know, not stacking it up like I do.
Well, that's what you want to be. conservative in thinking about your thread wraps. And right there, flat thread. See, I need to cover that up right there.
That's a great move.
If I'd have done that with the cord, I would have never covered that up. But
Yeah.
by flattening out my thread.
That's a really cool move.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And then you're just taking the soft side of the scissors and kind of
Yeah.
working it back and forth through that thread off the bobbin, and
Hey,
it's
hey,
a
hey.
really cool move. So are you trying to go tight with these
Yeah.
wraps?
Yeah, I'm gonna lay them right side by side. I can't really see now too much.
Do you want to put these glasses on too?
That's not the problem. It's the light. I can see with Wendy's glasses.
There you go.
What's Wendy doing without her glasses then?
She has millions. These are my
Now that
glasses.
she's the star of these episodes.
These are mine.
Uh,
Oh man.
so Howard, where have you been fishing?
Good Lord, I've been fishing all over this year. I've been fishing a lot and all over. And let me finish this up because I'm in
That was arm distraction.
a spot right now.
That's why he's tying flies tonight, because he's lost all of them so far.
Yeah.
Big fish, tooled them. Yeah, it's like,
So I'm going to take
To refill
3
the-
wraps.
the
I'm gonna
quiver.
yeah.
Take 4 wraps.
Well, while he does his body wrap, what's like everyone kind of knows what's going on with water temperatures and stuff like that, but just touching on it, like what's kind of going on with all our hot weather, dry weather, and hot temperatures in the water.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a pretty hot summer so far, and outlook looks to be similar. And that with a relatively low snow year, all of our naturally fed streams are, just starting to dwindle in CFS flow rate, and that means our temperatures are going to be rising in those waters now.
Throughout the afternoon.
Yeah, so it's like, we're out here in the West, obviously we are lucky that it's, wonderfully cold pretty much every night, easily, in the valley here, usually in the 50s, up in the mountains, you're probably upper 40s, even middle of July and August. And that's going to maintain a cool temperature for those creeks. But the sun is so intense here in the mountains, and it's been really hot, and it's been really hot every day and dry.
Since May.
Since
Yeah,
May.
really,
Like
which
minimal, if any, moisture at this point.
Yeah,
So.
it was-
Sunny since March.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which is nice to a point, but
Yesterday, we really we took notice of where the impact of the water temperature rising was affecting our day in terms of fishing and the active fish. I mean, it is as you like to call it, the doldrums of the
the
afternoon.
doldrums of the
And it slowed down quite a bit from about 12:31 on through till about 4:30 or 5. And so it's just a little less active. You change up your tactics. You get a little bit. You obviously go underneath, and you're not seeing a lot of that surface activity from the morning. That fades off. Streamers, nymphing, that kind of stuff was producing or doing dry droppers. Still had some activity
Yep.
up top, but yeah, it was certainly a different level of activity from pretty much about 1:30 to 4.
Yeah.
I'd say.
Well, that coincides with the the hoot owl closures that we're seeing out here in the West at this point. We were in Chaz and I were fishing yesterday in a spot that has it's good cold water. It's in great shape. Not concerned about the water being too warm by any means at this point. However, elsewhere in the West, and a lot of the rivers that we all enjoy fishing are smaller streams fed by a smaller volume of water. So they're heating up to a point that is dangerous for the fish. The fish are stressed out because of the heat, and they don't need us stressing them out anymore, basically.
So explain
yeah.
the hoot owl. So you,
But
Howard, you
you're
should probably do
probably
that.
a little bit better versed in the verbiage on that.
Well, hoot owl, has been instituted numerous years ago up in Montana, whatever. And right now, most of southwest Montana fisheries are closed to fishing from 2 o'clock to midnight. Last Friday, Yellowstone National Park for all rivers and streams closed their fishing. Their hoot owl is from 2 o'clock till daybreak the next day. Some of the waters over in Idaho are totally closed. Silver Creek over there, famous river, or creek, I should say, is totally closed. And so, I think kind of what you guys are saying, I think most of us that are pretty ardent fishermen are very, very aware of where we're going, what we're doing. And, last week, I fished you said, where have I been fishing? I've been all over. I was way down almost on the Utah border and fishing a stream down there. And I caught a fish and I'm going like, whoa. And I took a water temp, 67 degrees at 8 o'clock.
In the
8
morning?
o'clock,
In the
8
morning?
o'clock in the morning.
Whoa.
So I was totally done there.
Well, we drink too much to get up at 8 o'clock in the morning.
Well, I was chasing these guys right here. That's how
I'll never say
I was chasing Tricos that are can be relatively early. So then I
Wow, that's awfully early for that.
Then I went back, came north, and was on the Green River, and fished. And at noon, I took a water temp, and it was 62, 63 degrees. So I said, "That's it. I'm done."
That's noon.
Yeah.
That was at noon. So I said, I'm done. So yeah, what we're asking people to do in the shop and stuff when they're getting licenses, just be conscious of that. There's going to be a fish kill no matter if people are fishing for fish or not in some of these waters. I mean, they're just going to be too warm.
Yeah.
They're just too low. Perfect example. I just went and got some water flows. The Salt River, which is our very last tributary in Wyoming before it crosses over into Idaho, south of here, is at 333 CFS. The inflow to Jackson Lake is what? 241.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
And
Whoa.
That's the inflow into Jackson is the
It-
same as
It's less.
salt?
Less.
Is it
Less.
less than the salt?
100, almost 100, 100 CFS less. I mean, the Salt's a tiny river.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of tributaries to the
Yeah.
Yellowstone
Yeah.
Lake or to Jackson Lake.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
That is
Yeah.
an amazing number.
Well, that's coming that's the snake coming into the lake.
Okay.
Yeah.
That'd be up like a flag ranch.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Flag range.
Yeah.
Got it.
But
got
even
it.
though,
Yeah.
240, I mean,
That's
that's,
small.
So one thing very, very important on parachutes is you need to post this wing. That's when I did that wrap on the deal, that thing came together. So I'm right-handed, so I am going to post this going around this clockwise. And I'm looking from the top, not from the bottom. So I'm going to come around. And I'm going around the base of this. Clockwise. I made 2 wraps there. Okay. Now here's the controversial portion of this. That right there would have been controversial. But many times when you talk to people that are going to do parachute, there is a curvature in this. Here's the neck that this feather came off of. That sits on, the chicken like this. So all the stems, the barbules on there are all going to go down. So they're going to look like that right there. Claire, can you zoom in on that right here? So if I had a cross section of that hackle, those barbules are bending down. That's so when it's raining, whatever, dirt and all that is coming off the chicken. Many people don't care if, when I install this, if they're going up or down or wherever, they're just going to make it happen. There's another contingency of fellas that think, that when I do a parachute, they want it to go up. And good reasoning, it makes it for a cleaner fly. It makes it, I wouldn't necessarily say easier, but it makes it easier to make a nice clean fly, because when I do this parachute, those barbules are going to be out of the way. And some people say, this is the way to do it. And some of you know who you are. I would say in smaller flies and whatever, probably not that big of a difference. But when we move into like 14s, 12s, 10s, whatever, you cannot tell me that when those barbules are going up, that they don't have a tendency to collapse, as opposed to be going down.
Yes.
So you guys can do it however you want. But just for your information, as I know all fly tying, there's really no right way or wrong way. What works for you is fine, and if it's working for you, fine. But this is another little trick that I do. When I prepare my feather here, I prepare it like this. So one side here, there's going to be less barbules than the other side. So that allows me, when I'm going to wrap it, doesn't matter if I'm doing a parachute, if I'm doing it traditional or whatever, I'm taking a few barbules off of that one side of the rachis, or the stem. So when I make my first wrap, many times when you're doing a traditional fly, they'll go like this on you. Well, because you've got the tops and the bottoms all trying to track in the same spot.
They're fighting each other.
Yeah, the stem or the rachis there is not round. It's rectangular, believe it or not, and some are worse than others. So if I take those barbules off, when I go to make my first wrap or my first wrap around here, it's going to start to track right away.
Yeah.
And I don't need them there anyway, because I have the top ones to show. So anyway, there's my 2 cents.
That's a great tip.
And so I am going to put this with the curve going down. And here's another thing. When I first moved to Jackson, whatever, some of the greatest fly tyers that you'll find any place, every one of them are going to cut this stem right here, and they're going to put that there, and they're going to sit there, and they're going to try to grab that end of that little stem, which I could never figure out why you do that.
You can always trim it later. Get your first wrap. Now, you didn't...
I'm going to put a wrap behind there, and I'm going to grab this, I'm going to lift my thread up, and I'm going to put it exactly where I want it.
Oh, nice.
Now I don't have to sit there and wonder if I caught it or if I didn't catch it. I've got it exactly where I want it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when I did this, when I started to do this parachute, which I'm going to continue on doing, I'm going to cut this off. The other thing is, you know, people say parachutes are very delicate and they fall apart and stuff. Well, if they're tied properly, they do not. Okay, so I am going to continue posting this wing up. If I, come on.
So there's probably a lot of seasoned fly tires, and then I would guess some new fly tires. And building posts takes time. And how many?
It's a lot easier
up?
if you make your flies look like mine, where you have a post like this high, so you got a good grip on that thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they don't work. But
Yes.
Okay, but
Howards do.
my point being here is I went around clockwise when I did that. And you're going to see the reason why when we kind of start to finish this fly.
So how about you on that post? You made about 10, 12 wraps. To
Yeah,
create
probably.
it? Yeah.
Yeah, I've gone up fair ways.
Okay.
You know, when you get a parachute fly, in a shop, and if you can move this wing and the hackle's moving, that fly's gonna fall apart.
Yes.
We want it so we can move the wing, but the hackle stays right there. And that's why that post is so critical.
Mm-hmm. Very.
Yeah.
Had a lot of parachute atoms unspin the hackle.
Yep.
Well, especially.
Hopefully it's from fish eating it too
Right.
much.
Yeah. No, that's the only way.
That's the only way.
Well,
Yeah,
because
exactly.
our casting is so perfect and precise that there'd never be any stress
No.
delivered to the fly whatsoever, ever.
So with these high water temperatures and high water flows and stuff, where would you guys suggest people visiting Jackson or just places in general that are experiencing the same thing that we are? Where should people go fish? When should they stop fishing? What are just like some suggestions to keep our fish happy and healthy?
Well, I mean, certainly want to consider, where the coolest water is, right? So those are going to be, obviously lake fishing. Lakes are going to hold their deep water temperatures to be much more conducive to the health of the fishery. Usually tailwaters below dams are going to be good because you're going to be drawing typically that cold water out of the bottom of the lakes.
But needs to be a deep water.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah. You can't, there's a lot of tailwater fisheries that, I would say Jackson Lake is marginal.
Yep.
Because, the drop there is not that great.
Right.
So, but they are pulling water off basically the bottom, whatever. So that's going to help. But some of these tailwater fisheries that aren't very deep, or they're not taking water from that far down.
Right.
Right.
They become a heat sink.
Right.
The Madison, for example, up by Ennis Lake.
Yeah.
Big body of water, but that basically becomes a heat sink, and so down below that, it's even warmer.
So does the
So you have
does
to
the-
watch
on an
a
example
tailwater.
like the Madison, is the water flowing up and over the top of the dam, or is it coming out of the bottom of the dam?
I can't really tell you a bear trap there
Yeah.
at Ennis Lake. I don't know. I just know that Ennis Lake
Yeah. It's so shallow.
Yes.
It's so shallow that it's
Yeah.
just like it doesn't even
And
really
so-
matter because it's only
right.
1
So
feet deep.
I don't know if it's coming off the bottom or top there,
Yeah.
but I do know it's an issue where it's coming out of. So
Yeah.
so
I know that on Flaming Gorge, the dam originally was drawing from a fairly, I think was it high or low, and then they put in the elevator where they could actually move where the intake was coming
Oh,
in.
really?
Yep.
Oh,
And
no
At least that's
so the outlet.
from the tour that I took when I
Yeah.
guided down
Nice.
there.
Uh-huh.
Is that they actually figured out how to pull the water at an optimal temperature.
Right.
To maintain.
What they did is they mixed.
Yeah, they mixed.
They were pulling it off the bottom.
Yep.
And it was so
Too cold.
nitrogen rich,
Yeah,
cold,
that's right.
whatever. So it was actually killing fish.
Yes.
Because it was so nitrogen rich and whatever. So then that is one of the very few dams they actually mix it.
Wow.
They can take it off. I wouldn't necessarily say the top, but somewhere near the top,
Yep.
and they mix it so they get an optimum
Yep.
temperature coming out of there. So
That is a very deep dam.
so the one thing, another little
Damn deep dam.
deal here
Deep
is
down.
that I'm using a synthetic dubbing, superfine stuff. So when you put that on, make sure you don't put on very much, because synthetic dubbing is a mother to take off if you've got too much. So you can always add. Okay, now we're going to get back to. So I posted that, looking from the top down, I posted that wing going clockwise. Now I'm right-handed. I'm going to put this hackle in counterclockwise. So the whole idea was I twisted that wing this way. Now when I put my hackle on, I'm going to twist it back and somewhat straighten it out. So I'm going to put one wrap, 2 wraps, and drop. And see now, right now, my hackle's starting to kick in.
Yeah.
So now everyone, there's 2, is going underneath. 3, 4, 5. Ooh, that's not good.
I hate when that happens.
Hate it when that.
Yeah, that's
I think
old.
I'm gonna ask
That's
you.
old hackle. Well, we're not going to do 6.
So you said that's old hackle that makes it brittle, obviously.
Yeah,
Is
yeah.
so is there like a born on date that you should look
No.
for? or anything?
Mine would all be expired.
Oh man, me
Oof.
too. Oh god. But I can't really make anything good with them anyway, so it's
Yeah.
probably best for them.
Ooh, the Yes Gary.
The Yes Gary is
The
a good
Yes
buck.
Gary is
Uh-huh.
a very effective. It's also a larger fly.
Yes. Uh-huh. Much.
Yes.
Much.
Okay, I don't know if I can save this.
I think you got it.
Okay, so now come down there. So now, but I'm not going to be able to do what I wanted to show you. It's 2, and we're going to do 3 underneath. So normally, I'd have done 1 wrap around there. 1 wrap around, and I would have continued on with my hackle and done much more of a traditional thing. I know some of the guys tie it off like right, just like how I did it right there. And what I don't like about, I've had those blow up.
Mm-hmm.
If I would continue on, then the reason why we do this counterclockwise, because I'm just going to drop it over the bend of the hook right at the eye, then I'm going to tie it off right there. And now why I'm doing it that way is because I'm going away from myself, hackle's going away from myself, and I'm tightening it. If I'd been coming back this way, this way,
Yeah.
I'm coming towards myself. When I go to tie it off, I'm loosening it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's
Makes
another
sense. Yeah.
another little thing with. So, and John, this is where you said your whip finishes. There's nothing better. But when John, you said, "Well, my whip finish is Howard quality." Okay, this is what you can't do, John,
Uh,
because now I can place each wrap
Wow.
exactly where I want it.
Gosh.
that looks great.
Well, his parents are definitely watching, so
Yeah.
we'll call him out on that.
So there's 3,
Wow.
and we're gonna do another one. Yep, get out of there.
So did you guys bring some cocktails on the South Fork overnight?
Yes, we
There
did.
may have been a
May have-
few.
What is the go-to boat cocktail?
Well, we had some insulated vessels, so quite a few sloshies made their way, which was fun. Yeah, we did gin and tonics. It was just hot, so we kind of kept it cool, and yeah, we certainly got into some beers and seltzies
Celsius.
from our
Yep.
friends over at Roadhouse, and yeah.
Yeah, and of
So-
course, may have dipped into a little bit of Wyoming
Oh,
whiskey
we
along the
certainly
way. You
did.
know, it wasn't overnight. There was a campfire.
Yes.
Yeah, Seltzy has like the cocktail recipe on the back of it, so you can mix it with.
Absolutely, yeah. Our spirits go fantastically with a good,
Yes.
nice ice cold seltzy.
Seltzy Sundays.
Yeah.
Yeah, or Saturdays,
Yep.
or all
Yep.
days.
Or, you know, any day. that
Any
makes it
day.
wine.
Most of them. I get
Yes.
thirsty every single day. Yeah.
Mm.
But yeah, it was nice to be able to do the overnight. Those of you that have not had the opportunity to do that out there, it's a really special opportunity. One of our favorite sections of river out here. And even if you don't have the ability to do the overnight, you can hire a guide and get a day trip down through the canyon, and it's just one of those really special places that is fishing now and should continue to fish for the majority of the summer because of the flows that they're
these
be
water
pumping
flows.
through out of there. So yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's see the fly, Howard.
Okay, well, we gotta do.
Dress it up a little bit.
Okay, Dave didn't make it. He always gives me the beeswax butt head cement. Okay, here you go, Dave. I use it occasionally. So always on a parachute. If you
Hands are covering it.
well, that's the only way I can do it. I'm going to put it right down next to the post right there. Just ever so little amount. And if you use a flexible water base head cement or something like that, as opposed to like a lacquer, I would suggest that. That's too much.
Are you putting a small drop at the above the hackle and just at the
Right
top
at-
of the post?
Right at the base.
Yeah, that's a great move. Just holds it together.
Tyler Meany is watching from Wilson, and he wants to know what Chaz and Trav's favorite sloshy flavors are.
Oh man,
Tyler, that guy.
he's always gonna get us on
God.
that.
I have input, and maybe I don't know what liquor it's made out of, but the mango jalapeno one at Rations. Have y'all had that one yet?
Oh,
No.
that must be like an ex-lover.
Maybe it's tequila.
Yeah.
It
I don't
is
know.
so good.
Yeah. So I
Anyway,
guess
what are your
your favorite of our lineup then would be the ex-lover, which is pineapple, Serrano vodka.
I don't think that one
Yeah.
was available last time I came down.
It's we got.
It's coming up.
Wait, yeah, it is coming up.
Should
pretty
be
soon.
up in the next week or so.
I just
That's a
voted-
popular
I
one.
voted on the chocolate one, and I voted on the lavender one.
Lavender lemonade is one of my favorites.
Yes.
Yeah, that is my jam.
I think
Yeah.
Mexican chocolate cake could be an all-time favorite. Just it's just
It's so unique.
decadent,
You don't
wonderful,
no-
and all
nobody
the
else is
Can you
goodness.
look at that.
can you zoom
Yeah.
in there?
All finished up. Nice.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Well done, sir. Yeah. Look at that.
Daniel Prevedel says you are an artist.
You are.
That
That's
is for sure.
incredible.
That is correct.
Jesus. That is awesome. It's so perfect.
Well, it sounds like everyone needs to come down and get some sloshies, maybe perfect their cocktail recipes when it's too hot during the day to go fishing.
Well, and it gets
Yeah.
hot in the afternoons when you're fishing and you can't fish anymore. And the best thing to cool you down is take a little swim and have your insulated cooler of your insulated mug or whatever it is in the cooler for of sloshies. Ready
Yes.
to go.
And you know
So-
where you can buy one of those?
Maybe.
I do. I do. I think it's at Jackson Hole Steelworks. We're about 2.5 miles south of town.
They're very good to have around when you're tying flies as well.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I don't
This is
mind. I don't
beautiful.
mind a gin and tonic every once in a while.
That is wonderful.
So that's your go-to summer fly, right, Howard?
Quit. Quit. That was supposed to be my go-to last week when I was out, and I ended up having, which I caught some fish, but I ended up actually having to go back and fish caddis at this time of year. What's that about? So that's what fly fishing's all about.
You
know?
never know until
So,
you go.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
anyway, so what's our notes here? What didn't we cover?
Yeah. What did we miss?
Yellowstone.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah. So we mentioned
Updates.
Montana with their hoot owl, Yellowstone. Oh, I mentioned that. That streams and whatever. Yeah,
Lakes
they're
are
close.
still open. In
Lakes
Yellowstone.
are open. And Yellowstone Lake is fishing well. really well, and don't be intimidated by how large a lake it is. You can have some excellent dry fly fishing. There's been calibatis going on there right now. There's still some PMDs in the lake, believe it or not. Henry's Fork is flowing pretty good. 940 something coming out of Island Park, 21 something coming out of Ashton. So that would be another thing. We just like we mentioned, we just want everybody to be aware of water temperatures,
Because we want to be able to fish next year too.
exactly. That's what I say. You can always catch another fish.
Yeah.
Be thoughtful
Whatever
and
we-
kind to your trouts.
Yeah.
Well, and even though this maybe isn't the time of year for it, in these afternoons and stuff, you can do a little fly tying.
Yeah.
One thing, I steelhead fish a lot. So I've been doing a lot of 200, I always do a lot of 200 rod casting anyway, but I'm doing a lot of that right now. And for people just fly fishing, they should practice their casting. I mean, that's the one thing, I teach a lot of single-handed rod casting too, because I enjoy casting. But that's one thing I say to them. I get this person that's going to go saltwater fishing or went and come back and oh my God, it's wind blew for 4 days and whatever, so we couldn't fish and and blah blah blah. You got to teach me a double haul. And I said, no, I got to teach you how to cast because double haul is not going to help you. I mean, it's going to help you, but understanding most people get locked into 30 feet, 25 feet, and when they get into situations, either throwing what the heck, big streamer, what's the DAL thing or the dull thing, that's heavy or whatever, and they can't throw it. Well, yeah, because they're used to 25, 30 feet, and that's what they do. So, I mean, practice casting is
And you can
help
also always work on your cocktail recipes, hanging out
Yep.
on the side of the river, and if you
well,
aren't fishing
that
or-
goes right along with
Yeah.
your fly
Enjoy
tying,
a beverage.
Casting,
your
yeah,
casting,
all of
and,
this, yes.
and I mean, reading a book,
Yeah.
Heard of
Those are
it.
good- yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
whatever. I don't know, Claire.
You good? Is everything about your fly
It
I
is beautiful.
had to be said?
Even if we didn't get 6 wraps on that post, it is still beautiful. Beautiful.
I can't see that going down the river.
Yeah.
I gotta
Yeah.
use the hot pink
trap
purple ones that are like that big. I can see those.
Oh, I can make you some of those.
All right. Well, thanks everyone for tuning in. We had some fun, and hopefully we'll have another cocktail, while we're cleaning up. And I
Maybe.
hope you guys are having one at home too. Where can you get Stillworks?
Any of your local liquor stores? For y'all out east, we're in New York, Delaware, New Jersey, Pennsylvania,
Yeah.
hometowns. And then out west, we're in Montana, Idaho, Colorado, and of course, Wyoming.
Yeah.
So, yeah, ask your local liquor stores. If you're in those states, bring it in.
Cool.
Yeah.
and I'm really looking forward to this darker brown colored
I don't
stuff.
know what you're talking about.
No hints are coming out today. Awesome. Well, feel free to pop in the store, grab some materials, tie up some flies, ask Howard any questions all day long. He'll be here Thursday through Sunday. Come, bug him.
Might be busy after 2 later in the summer. As
Well,
the fishing says.
Very popular guy.
No, if you have any questions or anything like that, that's why we're here.
Yeah.
People
us a
come
call.
in and go, oh my God, you spent no, that's why we're here.
Yeah.
So
We had fun
Thank-
tonight,
thanks.
and stay tuned. We'll probably kick this back up later this fall when hopefully things slow down a little bit and we have time to do this.
Yeah.
Once a week again.
And thank you for having us.
Yeah.
This has
Oh,
been
no,
really
thanks
fun.
so much. No,
This is
it's
super
awesome.
fun.
For sure.
Great to
Awesome.
see you, Howard.
Yep.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Claire.
Yeah.
And this is empty, so
Yeah.
I think we
Yeah.
should probably jump
Let's-
into making cocktails.
Yeah, let's fill them up.
All
Round
right,
two. Yeah.
sounds good.
Cheers,
Thanks,
everyone.
everybody.